Ryan Carter woke up to the unmistakable feeling of not being where he was supposed to be. The bed beneath him was firm but comfortable, the sheets crisp and cool against his skin. The air smelled different. Not unpleasant, just too clean, like a sterile lab. He sat up and rubbed his face. The last thing he remembered was stepping out of a corporate shuttle, then a sudden jolt, a flash of blue light, and nothing. Now, he was here. The room was sleek and modern. The walls smooth and curved, as if the entire space had been carved from a single piece of metal. Soft white light radiated from panels along the ceiling, casting a glow that was neither too harsh nor too dim. A wide, circular window revealed an unsettling sight: stars. A vast, endless expanse of them. Ryan let out a slow breath. Okay, he muttered to himself. That's new. The swish of an automatic door interrupted his thoughts, and when he turned, he nearly lost his ability to form coherent words. She stepped inside with the effortless grace of a predator, tall and powerful, her toned body clad in a fitted brown leather bodysuit reinforced with dark metal plates. The deep V of the suit's front left little to the imagination, and her waist was cinched by a thick belt that looked both practical and decorative. Long, dark hair cascaded down her back, framing sharp, regal features. But what caught his attention most was her skin, a striking shade of violet, smooth and flawless, with a subtle sheen under the artificial light. Her eyes, an inhumanly vivid shade of silver, locked onto him with cool detachment. She folded her arms, accentuating her toned figure. You're awake. Ryan blinked. I mean, yeah. That tends to happen after unconsciousness. Her expression didn't change. If she had a sense of humor, it was buried deep. You are Ryan Carter, she stated. It wasn't a question. That's what my ID says. He swung his legs over the side of the bed and frowned when he realized he was barefoot. His usual business attire replaced with a simple gray shirt and dark trousers. Mind telling me where the hell I am? You are aboard the Zyvari warship. Vorkesh. You are confined here under the orders of the Imperial Council. Ryan scoffed. Confined? For what? Last I checked, I didn't break any intergalactic laws. Her silver eyes remained unreadable. That is not for me to say. My duty is to keep you here. Nothing more. Ryan took a slow look around the room, his cell, apparently. No visible locks, no visible doors besides the one she'd come through. But he had no doubt this place was secure. Right, he muttered. And you are? She hesitated for a fraction of a second before replying, Zyra. Ryan grinned, standing up to his full height. He wasn't a short guy, but Zyra still had a couple of inches on him. She was tall, all lean muscle and battle-hardened strength, built like someone who could snap him in half if she felt like it. So, Zyra, he said, tilting his head, what happens if I try to leave? You won't. Won't. He let out a breathy chuckle. That sounds suspiciously like a challenge. Zyra didn't react, merely watching as he took a step forward, then another. The moment he got too close, she moved so fast he barely registered it. 1 second, he was standing. The next, he was pressed against the wall, Zyra's strong grip pinning his wrist beside his head, her body an imposing force against his own. Ryan swallowed. Okay, wow. You're fast. Her gaze flicked over him, her expression still unreadable, but there was something else now, a flicker of amusement. Do not test me, human. Her voice was low, a warning. Ryan held up his free hand in surrender. Noted. She released him and stepped back, her posture once again composed. Food will be delivered automatically. If you need anything, you may request it through the console. She gestured toward a sleek, built-in panel on the far wall. Do not attempt to leave. Do not attempt to contact anyone. If you cooperate, you will not be harmed. He exhaled through his nose, watching her for a long moment. And how long is this confinement supposed to last? Silence. That long, huh? Ryan sighed, running a hand through his hair. All right. Fine. I'll play along. For now. Zyra nodded sharply and turned to leave. But as the door swished open, Ryan couldn't help himself. You know, he called after her, if you wanted to keep me in one place. You could have just asked nicely. No need for the whole kidnapping thing. Zyra paused. Her head turned slightly as if she were considering a response. But in the end, she merely walked out, the door sealing shut behind her. Ryan let out a long breath. Well, this was shaping up to be very interesting. Ryan had never been good at sitting still. Confinement, even in a room as sleek as this one, was not something he handled well. At first, he spent his time pacing, examining every inch of his so-called accommodation. For weak points. There weren't any. The walls were smooth and seamless, the large circular window reinforced with some kind of alien alloy. The only visible exit was the door, which he quickly learned wouldn't open without Zyra's authorization. Which meant his best shot at getting anywhere was her. She visited at regular intervals, always the same, striding in, impassive, assessing him. Like he was nothing more than an assignment. Ryan, naturally, took it as a challenge. You know, he said one day, stretching out on the bed, if I'm gonna be your prisoner indefinitely, the least you could do is bring me some entertainment. A book. A movie. Hell. I'd settle for a deck of cards. Zyra, standing with her usual arms crossed, stance near the door, merely raised a brow ridge. Your request is noted. Ryan grinned. That's a no, isn't it? She didn't answer, which was answer enough. Still, he'd learned something. She was listening, even if she pretended otherwise. Days passed in much the same way. He prodded, teased, and tested. She remained stone-faced. Professional, unshakable. But then, little things began to shift. The first crack was when she smirked. It was barely there, a twitch at the corner of her lips, but Ryan caught it. He had been ranting about the ridiculousness of alien bureaucracy, arms flailing as he made some grand point about how even in space, people couldn't seem to get their shit together. When he glanced at her mid-rant, he saw it. That flicker of amusement, quickly masked. Oh my God, he gasped dramatically, pointing. You do have emotions. Zyra's expression immediately shuttered. I have no idea what you're talking about. Oh no, you totally smirked just now. He stood, taking a slow step toward her. That's progress. Next thing you know, you'll be laughing at my jokes. Doubtful. But the next day, she lingered longer than usual. And the day after that, she actually answered when he asked about Zyvari customs. Her voice losing some of its clipped formality as she explained their warrior traditions, their oaths, their views on honor. Then came the night of the attack. Ryan had been lying on the bed, tossing a small fruit from his meal tray in the air, when the lights flickered just once, barely noticeable. But then he heard the hum of something powering down. Zyra stormed in a second later, her usual calm replaced with sharp focus. Get up. Ryan sat up. What's going? A sudden, muffled explosion rocked the ship. The lights flickered again, the door to his quarters locking with a final clunk. Zyra cursed in her native tongue, drawing a sleek weapon from her hip. Someone is attempting unauthorized entry into this sector. Ryan tensed. You mean, someone's trying to kill me? Possibly. She turned, eyes scanning the room as she tapped at her wrist console. The security lockdown has engaged. We're cut off. Well, that's reassuring. Another muffled boom. The room trembled slightly. Ryan stood, pulse quickening. Zyra. She turned sharply, reaching for his arm. Stay close. The moment her fingers closed around his wrist, a sharp current of adrenaline surged through him, not just from the situation, but from the sudden closeness of her. For the first time, she wasn't just some untouchable, unreadable enforcer. She was right there, her grip firm, her scent something faintly metallic and floral invading his senses. He swallowed. Got it. Staying close. She led him toward the far side of the room, tapping something on the wall. A hidden panel slid open, revealing a narrow, dimly lit passage. "Emergency maintenance tunnels," she said briskly. "They lead to secondary quarters. If we reach them, we can." The door behind them slammed open. A group of figures rushed in, armed, masked, fast. Zyra moved just as quickly. She shoved Ryan behind her, drawing a second weapon and opening fire. Bright blue energy blasts lit up the room, striking the walls and sending sparks flying. Ryan ducked as one shot missed him. By inches, his heartbeat hammering in his ears. Zyra moved like a predator, fluid and lethal, taking down two of the intruders in rapid succession. But there were too many. A stray blast hit the ceiling panel above them, and the metal groaned. Zyra barely had time to react before a large piece of debris broke loose, falling straight toward her. Ryan didn't think. He just moved. He tackled her sideways, both of them, crashing to the floor as the debris hit the ground where she just stood. For a long second, there was silence. The intruders were gone, either dead or retreating, but Ryan was still on top of Zyra, his breath coming fast. His body pressed against hers. She was warm, strong. Beneath the cool, composed warrior exterior, she was still very much flesh and blood. Her silver eyes met his, unreadable. Ryan swallowed. So. That was exciting. Zyra didn't push him off. In fact, her hands were still gripping his sides. Tight. Lingering. His gaze flicked to her lips, full, slightly parted, the faintest flush of color against her violet skin. He should move. He should. But then Zyra exhaled slowly, her grip tightening just slightly, her body still beneath him. And just like that, the air between them shifted. Ryan's pulse wasn't just from the adrenaline anymore. Neither was hers. Ryan should move. Every logical part of his brain told him to roll off Zyra, to put space between them before things got even more complicated. But logic was losing badly against the sheer heat radiating between them. His hands were braced on either side of her, his body still half draped over hers. The smell of her, clean, metallic, something subtly floral, was doing things to him. Zyra wasn't pushing him away.